Okay, so watching us here on Nile International, and we'll be following up with you for the rest of the day on the latest developments regarding the voting elections day at the United States of America, where we are expecting to know who is going to be the 45th American president. Is it going to be Donald Trump from the Republican or Hillary Clinton from the Democrats? A very fierce battle, and although some of the percentages are going forward indicating for primary that possibly Hillary Clinton could be leading, yet you never know what's going to happen in the upcoming 48 hours. But what is for sure is that America is going to be very different after the results of this election than the America that we knew before. And we're going to be shedding more light with our guest who's over the phone, Ambassador Mohammed Al-Husseini. He's the chairman of the Economic Committee at the UN, and he's going to be giving us his insight and his predictions for this upcoming election. Thank you very much for joining us, Mr. Ambassador.
Welcome, ma'am. You're welcome, ma'am.
Now, everybody's been talking about how this election in particular is very different than any other elections in the United States of America.
Yes,
what are your visions for that?
Actually, in the first place, let's talk about the American voter, because the American voter, which we're gonna to start voting today between the Democratic Hillary Clinton and the Republican Donald Trump, he first, let's talk about the Middle East region, because the American voter, he don't vote the Middle Eastern issues or the American foreign policy in his election priority. The majority to them is the economical situation. So who will give him a good economy condition, and who will provide a good health condition, and as well education and jobs. When we define the two between Clinton and between Trump, first, the Democratic, they represent the immigrants, which is, you are talking about 65% of the United States for the population there, because the immigrant, you are talking about the poor, the poor community, you are talking about the mid community, and all of them, they saw that Clinton, she is the one representing them because she already had the experience of that. But
yes,
for Donald Trump, he represents whom? He represents those who own the factories and the investors and the company's owner, which they find themselves originally the white casinos, which they originally the Americans. So
yes,
we are in the first time of the history of the United States of America since the 18th century. We find that America is divided. And when we talk about Clinton for the foreign policy, she didn't succeed as how we was aiming in Obama administration to do in the Middle East, to do in East Asia, in North Korea, and a lot of files. She didn't succeed in that. And Donald Trump as well, he don't have the experience to rule the country because he is a businessman, and his vision is against the immigrants. So you cannot now sit and see who will win, because Clinton, she had been uprised in the last couple of days because she had the experience and she know how to run the speeches. Donald Trump, he cannot control his outcome words. That's why now we are in between the two. But in our suggestions, we find Clinton, she has the more opportunity to win this election and to be the next president of the United States of America.
Yes, when you started, Mr. Ambassador, with your comments, you were speaking about the Middle East and the issues of the Middle East. Yes, and I'm very much particular to talk with you about the expectations of the people in the Middle East or this part of the world. Do you think they're more in favor for Clinton, or are they more in favor for Trump? There have been a lot of allegations and accusations regarding Clinton and you know, the conspiracy around Daesh and who created Daesh and the Arab Spring and so forth.
Yeah.
Who do you think they're most likely to be favoring to win in these elections regarding the Middle East region?
Let's put in the Middle East Egypt, as let's talk about our own experience. What happened with us with Clinton when the 30th of June revelation had been done? Clinton and the administration of Obama is the first administration in the world have fight us back and did all of them power to try to pull us down. Why? Because before, when we start in Mubarak age, Mubarak he have refused when was Clinton in the previous administration for the Israeli housing in Palestine. From that time, that they have looked like blackmailing to Egypt. So when it's come to the Muslim Brotherhood, when they take the leadership in the country, they supported them up to beyond the expectation of anyone in the Middle East. But when the Egyptian people refused what happened, the Obama administration and Hillary Clinton didn't support us, didn't support the rights of the Egyptian people and the Middle Eastern people. No, they support their own agenda, and their own agenda not for the good. Now, after the WikiLeaks and after the latest files, we all have read that Clinton have a lot of parts in ISIS and a lot of things we will not go on air. But in the Middle Eastern people, they don't find safety between Clinton and Trump. Why? Trump, he is saying he will support Egypt and the Middle East in fighting the terrorism. And Clinton is saying the same. But Clinton was one of the parts to the foundation of ISIS.
Yes.
And for Donald Trump, he don't have a clear vision for us to say, yeah, this is
yeah, and I speaking of Donald Trump here, Mr. Ambassador, I mean, how far could a businessman or a tycoon businessman who had never served in a political office be able to run an entire country with different ethnic backgrounds? Not only that, but also have apply a proper foreign policy regarding the different issues in the region or in the entire world?
With the help of the expertise consultants will be around him in the lobby office. Because Donald Trump himself, he cannot run the administration of the United States because it's too big for him. As a businessman, I'm telling you, as a businessman, he will do a good job for the investors worldwide. He will open a new gate of economy to the United States. But as a foreign policy, he will count in those who have the experience before in a succeed file to apprise the name of the United States, not from the Democratic, but from the Republican.
Yes.
This is the only way for Donald Trump to run the United States in the next 4 years.
Yes. Mr. Ambassador, some analysts also believe that it doesn't really matter who is going to run office. The agenda is going to be the same, and it's always those who are, as they call them, the people who work in the kitchen, whether it's inside the Congress or those who are really concerned with making the decisions, the political decisions, whether it's internally or the foreign policy of the United States towards the entire region, is going to be the same regardless of the names that are going to come. How far is this true from your experience?
If you'll ask me in that, I will gonna to reverse the question. I will say us. How we will deal with the United States of America in the two administrations. If we sit Clinton or even Donald Trump, we will not make our head down to our knees, and then we for the first time now we have a president. He has the guts to speak, and he is putting us equal to anyone. They will run the administration based of their own benefits. So for us here in the Middle East and especially in Egypt, we need to do the same because America, the first priority to her is the safety of Israel. This is the first priority. The second priority to them is to be still opened with the Gulf region and to be still open with the Union of the European Union. So this is the two priorities of the administration of the United States. When it comes to the Middle East now in the last 4 years in a crisis, what is the role of the United States? Nothing. They didn't do anything, and they will not do anything. So for us, whoever wanted to come and cooperate, show us your files and show us your plan, and then we will decide how we will deal with you. This is what President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi did in the United Nations meeting, the last meeting. He did a wise movement. He needs Donald Trump and Clinton in the same day, and he was delivering a message to the whole world that we will not go in any side to support any administration. We support our own benefits as Arab Republic of Egypt. So
yes, regardless of whoever runs or comes as the 45th President of the United States. Ambassador Mohammed Al-Husseini, the Chairman of the Economic Committee at the United Nations, thank you very much for joining us on Nile TV International. And let's take a look once again at what the U.S. celebrities have to say about the U.S. elections and who they believe is going to win, or who do they favor, either Hillary Clinton from the Democrats or Donald Trump from the Republicans.
Well, I mean, there's extreme voices out there. You know, I always have to caution people when they watch American politics that, you know, we go a little crazy during the political season, and it's a very long season. And, you know, this xenophobic, fascist sort of no Muslims are going to be coming into the United States. That's never going to happen. You know, that's not going to happen in the United States. We're not going to, that's not who we are, and that's not who we've ever been. It's not how our country was formed. So you're going to hear some of these louder voices that are extreme and much smaller percentage of the country that always come up during these moments, but they don't ever survive, and we get past these. So I always just try to tell people to, you know, I think it was Winston Churchill said, you can always count on the Americans to do the right thing after they've exhausted every other possibility. So, you know, it's all going to be fine. It's just going to take us a minute, you know.
I'm not gonna, I don't think I'm gonna use my sort of influence to tell people what to do, but I am gonna vote, you know?
I want us to have a big Ferris wheel that we can go up in really, really slowly and light up for public events. That's my dream.
Yeah, whoever wins, get us one of those.
I think Trump is a businessman. It's something that you should study. I think he's interesting, been through a whole lot. But when it comes to politics and it comes to being the president of the United States of America, that's a whole different animal. Okay, and when you're up there and you speak, my mother always told me, two biggest diseases in the world, ignorance and greed. And when you're up there and you're speaking from an ignorant standpoint, I'm not opposed to you, you're doing it to yourself. You understand me? People see this, people see what's going on, and I think it's a very self-destructive behavior. I think Donald Trump is somebody that's never been out the sandbox. What I mean the sandbox is, had a nice ass whooping in life, because he wouldn't speak like that. You know, he'd understand people's struggles, sacrifices, you know? So that's what makes me a little bit passionate what's going on, and, you know, let's see what happens.
back again. You're still watching us here in our live coverage on Nile TV International regarding the 45th U.S. President of the United States and the U.S. elections. And we have joining us over the phone Dr. Yahya Sanjaq, who's a political analyst, and he'll be shedding more light also on his expectations concerning the U.S. elections. Thank you very much for joining us, Doctor.
You are welcome. Thank you.
Dr. Yahya, what are the most serious differences in the platforms between both presidential candidates, Hillary Clinton, the Democrats, and Donald Trump of the Republicans?
I think it will be a very big battle between both parties, you see, because one of them, he has or she had long experience in foreign affairs in America, in the United States of America. Hillary Clinton, she was Ministry of Foreign Affairs there for many, many years. Also, she has experience in the elections, presidential election before facing Barack Obama before he elected, or he asked her to join him as Ministry of Foreign Affairs. But Trump, he is a new experience. He don't have a lot political experience. He is economic and financing businessman, and he would like to join this life in the future, which is so difficult for him.
Yes.
I think if the American or United States administration would like to choose Hillary Clinton, she will succeed.
Yes. Now, Dr. Yahya, 41 million Americans, which is a majority, have already casted their votes, according to Bloomberg. And so far, the preliminary results suggest that Clinton is leading Trump by 3 points. How do you read this poll, and how far do you think this could be an indication to who could be winning? Or are we expecting surprises in the last minute, as we usually do?
I agree with you. The difference is 3%, because the last estimation last night, it was 46 to Hillary and 43 for Trump, which is only 3%, very, very small. And we cannot depend on this gap between the two parties. Maybe on the last minute, Trump will succeed, because he launched a lot of attack against Hillary. He opened new file about her, about what happened when she used the email, private email in business and in her job as Minister of Foreign Affairs. And also Hillary tried to make problems for him, saying that he didn't pay his taxes for several years,
yes,
which is very big problem in front of the citizenship there in the United States. For that, maybe there is surprise will happen this night.
Yes.
We are waiting. Nowadays, it is 20 to 2. Just after 5 hours, they will start. They'll start their election, and just by the end of this day, we will know who is to be the 45 president of the United States for 4 years.
Yes, Dr. Yahya, I mean, generally speaking, regardless of who the candidates are, the Republicans usually have a very different agenda and vision towards all files, whether it is internally or the external policies, than the Democrats. At this point in history, for all of us, for the United States citizens and for the entire Middle East region, who do you think, which agenda do you think suits or can be able to help in resolving the difficulties, the Democrats or the Republicans?
I am sorry, that is going to make me laughing, because there is no difference between the two parties at all.
I was hoping somebody would say that.
Really, I am laughing. Really, I am laughing, because America is depending on agenda. This agenda not depending on the groups. No, this agenda is protected by the government, protected by the administration there, not depending on the president at all. Nothing. They are the same. Look to their policy in the Middle East. Look how they support Israel. Look how they support Daesh and these militant groups all around the world. You see, it is the same. It is the same. Look what Hillary said about Israel and how she is going to protect Israel. Protect Israel from where? From whom? From whom?
Since you started the answer with a laugh, then I would like to also be very clear with you and have, of course, your honest, clear opinion and analysis regarding the fact that how do you see, according to many analysts, that throughout history in the United States, the Democrats always paved the way for the Republicans to come, and when the Republicans always came, they always came with a plan and a strategy for war on certain countries. How far is that true?
This is American agenda for the world, and they will never change it. Believe me, they will never change it. That is not depending on the president thinking or policy. It is impossible to be like this. They are going to continue. They are going to continue exactly as Barack Obama had done all these 8 years before. You see, they are supporting some groups all over the world, and they are going to continue the same policy. They are not going to send their troops outside the country, but they are going to use the force war generation. It means depending on the people themselves, on their countries, they are going to change the policy there and try to get support from America, just to put her hands and to fulfill their policy in this region.
Yes, and that's why terrorism is going to be a very challenging file. We'll also be discussing that.
That's right.
But for now, thank you very much, Dr. Yahya Al-Sanjaq, who is a political analyst. Thank you very much for your insight and for joining us on Nile International. And we'll be going out for this very short break, and then we'll be resuming our live coverage and how and different analysts and different experts in Egypt view the U.S. elections.
The latest news coverage for the 2016 U.S. presidential election.
I'm #1 in New Hampshire. Will you please keep me there? This is ridiculous.
In-depth analysis.
We've been fighting the progressive fight and getting results.
The key states that decide who wins the race. Clinton-Trump face off, trying to make history.
Go and vote.
Let's go win the nomination.
What happens on Election Day? The journey to the White House on Nile TV International.
I humbly and gratefully accept your nomination for the presidency of the United States.
And so, my friends, it is with humility, determination, and boundless confidence in America's promise that I accept your nomination for President of the United States.
Will Democrats Hillary Clinton or Republicans Donald Trump be the next U.S. president?
Welcome back again. You're still watching us live on Nile International as we discuss the latest updates concerning the U.S. Presidential elections. Joining us over the phone is Mr. Mohsen Al-Arishi, who is the head of the political department of the Egyptian Gazette. Thank you very much for joining us, sir.
Most welcome, most welcome.
Yes, right before I ended my previous call, sir, we were talking about the critical challenges that are facing the entire region, the entire world, not only the United States, and that is the war on terrorism. How far different is the strategies on combating terrorism different between Trump and Clinton?
I think Clinton, I think Trump is heading for celebrating the big victory. He will make the difference because, you know, both of these candidates are exchanging accusations which for somehow changed the attitude of the American voters. I mean the psyche of the American people, especially when Trump said that this system of election and governing in the U.S. is corrupt and should be changed. So many Americans listened to his accusations and appreciated them very carefully and attentively.
Yes, Mr. Mohsen, now regarding the Iranian nuclear file, again, how different do you think Trump will be tackling this issue differently? Here about the Republican versus the Democrats in general. There have been a lot of controversy. We all knew about how the Republicans were dealing with the Iranian nuclear file throughout the years when a Republican president was running office. But now, you know, in this era, how is it different? And what are we expecting to be in terms of maybe possibly a different strategy, a different ways of tackling with the nuclear issue?
Joel Richard Gere and Bruce Willis, or are you thinking the bodyguard where he had in the video camera?
Yes, are you back again with us online, Mr. Mohsen?
Sorry.
Yeah, I was discussing, or I was actually wondering and asking you regarding the Iranian nuclear file. How far different you think the Clinton, if she wins, how will her party or she personally be looking through this file? Or if the Republican Trump wins, how will they be looking at this file today?
I think in my point, when the U.S. signed the nuclear deal with Iran, U.S. allayed or dispelled Israeli fears about the threat of Iran nuclear program. So, and both Clinton and Trump are confirming to Israel that its national security is essential part of the U.S. National security. So, the nuclear deal with Iran, which was signed by Obama administration, would not have any significant impact on the results of the U.S. voting, which is underway now.
Yes, Mr. Mohsen, now regarding the U.S. citizens themselves who, you know, unfortunately are not very much aware or maybe even interested in what's happening or what the United States will be doing regarding its foreign policy. The main concern for the U.S. citizens is their standard of living, the cost of living, their health insurances, unemployment rate, and so forth, which eventually the Democrats managed to achieve or succeed in. Now, during the Obama administration, the unemployment rate is down. The prices are down, generally speaking, for goods. The cost of living is much more better. Of course, that's due to the reduction of the cost of petrol. So maybe they have more loyalty, or they feel more comfortable with the Democrats or dealing with Democrats and their ideologies and agenda. How far do you think this is true?
Look, the Democrats are facing a very big problem, which has different dimensions. Trump accused Obama of supervising or releasing, corrupt healthcare program, which disappointed the American citizens. Then Trump also said that Clinton knew that Saudi Arabia and Qatar supported Daesh financially and logistically. So these two accusations will shake the popularity of Democrats in this election. And again, concerning the Obama healthcare, and Trump promised that he would change this program drastically. So American people who are more interested in what's inside their pockets, about their personal gains financially and in terms of tax dues or tax alleviations, if I can say that. So the American, I think Trump will make that big news in these elections.
Very well, Mr. Mohsen Al-Arishi, the head of the political department at the Egyptian Gazette. Thank you very much for joining us here on Nile International. Our top stories at 2 p.m. Thank you very much.